Sir, my name is Taylor. 25074661, sir. Yes, back from the veterans camp. It's 7 o'clock on the 30th of June 2019. And in all seriousness, had a wonderful time with the veterans. And the purpose of this live will just be to put into thoughts everything that's happened over the last 24 hours. Put it down for historical record. It's 7 o'clock now. I imagine out in Hyde Park, stinking of urine, the veterans are settling down for another rowdy night of squaddy frolics. But it's been an eye-opener. Loads of intelligence gathered, and I'm a lot clearer in my mind of where we are in geopolitics today. So, initial memories. I made it just in time to see Simon Bean speak Parliament Square. That was brilliant. It was so hot, my camera wouldn't work. The error message came on saying too hot, camera doesn't work. But it was still got a few little clips which I managed to upload on the tiny bit of data I had available. So I got there for the rally at Parliament Square, and I got to shake hands with Cumberbatch and of course Bean, and that was very good. I was flying the flag, so I was very happy about that. So I saw Cumberbatch. He done his I missed that. I missed Cumberbatch's little speech, but I just saw him running off, sweating profusely because it was such a hot day. My initial reactions to the speeches in Parliament Square was that absolutely I agree with everything that the veterans stand for and everything that the veterans want to achieve. And I also agreed wholeheartedly that the people to blame are the ministers of Her Majesty's government, evidently making disastrous and, even in their own words, treacherous and treasonous decisions that essentially sell the veterans down the road. And I couldn't agree more heartily with that. They have been. The veterans seem to be brainwashed to think it's nothing to do with the Queen, even though everyone knows we live in a monarchy. And so even after spending half an hour ranting and raving against how incompetent the British government is, they still stand to attention and salute when the national anthem, God Save Our Queen, is played. And that was when I had to get out of there pretty quickish. And of course, I was talking to a lot of them, voicing exactly what I've just voiced now. And they weren't having any of it. They're under the belief that the Queen is just a figurehead, a symbolic figurehead, and has no day-to-day involvement with her British government. Okay. I don't know what you can do when you're confronted with that type of opinion, except say okay and bygones be bygones. So after that initial rally, everyone started dispersing, and I started off a stroll around London, which absolutely beautiful. Of course, they were based at Hyde Park, which is just adjacent to Buckingham Palace. And over the road from Buckingham Palace is called, of course, St James Park. And that was the first time I visited St James Park. Beautiful place. Really enjoyed walking through there. So I've spent a lovely Saturday and Sunday morning in London. So after the rally, I made way to the camp, of course. And when I got there, I counted about 100 to 150 to 200 tents. And I spoke to a lot of veterans. And I was speaking to a lot of veterans all through this. And the one particular guy, he counted 4 people per tent, making making over 1,000 people present. That I believe it is wishful thinking. There was no near that many people present, but those who were present were in good cheer, friendly. I mean, as I always do in gatherings like this, I was standing close to the police officers, overhearing their internal chatter, and the general consensus was that everyone is friendly enough, and there's no disturbance of the peace. Because of course they were being constantly monitored because they were illegally dwelling in Hyde Park. The police said, by law you should be out of here by 9. That didn't quite happen. But like I said, the reports the police on the ground were giving back to the HQ was that everything is friendly and tickety boo. So that was when I first turned up at the camp. Um, Said hello to people, introduced myself. That was very nice. No, before turning camp, I was walking, and then of course there was all the aggro, of course, at the Moon, something or another. There was a pub. I've got some footage of it. There's a pub going up that road that leads up to Nelson's Column, and I was walking past, and of course that was where all the veterans had retired to after the rally. So of course it was lovely for me walking past. I saw loads of noise and rowdiness, and bang, I recognised a veteran straight away, and I thought, well, yep, that's awesome. They're obviously all drinking inside there. So of course I went in, and first person I saw inside was Simon Bean. So I thought, brilliant. I was at such a lovely hot day, so I thought I'll join the veterans in a couple of pints, and that's what I did. And that was where I got to footage of Simon's rallying call that they're going to march on Parliament on Monday with the intention of disrupting traffic and essentially barring the politicians from entering their work. Okay, so that was the intention. They wanted to bar Parliament to stop the and remains their intention. They want to bar the Parliament from the politicians in protest, primarily to the treatment of Northern Ireland veterans and the way they've been treated, with, of course, the continuing threats of criminal prosecutions, and liability for what they've done, for what happened in Northern Ireland over those worst years of conflict. In fact, a veteran called Dennis was brought onto the platform in Parliament Square to recount his story. And of course, I agree with the veterans to the extent that every soldier should ultimately be held responsible for what he does in war. But that's a very contentious subject, and we'll move on for the time being. Just want to interrupt and say hello to Maria Gilligan. Thank you for showing an interest. I'm just back from a night with the veterans and trying to go in their chronological order, trying to remember. So I turned up in London. I just managed to get to Parliament Square by about 12, I reckon. And of course, at that time, John Wanoa was doing his live court stream, which I haven't seen yet, but I will be doing as soon as I've finished this live. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that went. So I was very conscious of when I was going up to London what John was doing from the other side of the world, and it's just synchronizations. Synchronizations over this weekend in London have been pretty spectacular, and I'll like and I'll touch on them as I go along. And of course, synchronizations it's an indicator for me that I'm on the right track and that the universe is in sync with what I'm doing. And so I'm looking forward to doing so. Back to the chronological order, I've got some footage of what was kicking off because when it was so funny because it was the memories that flood back of the rowdy squaddies in their pubs spilling out onto the streets having fights, and of course that was my bread and butter in the army, and so it was just such a happy feeling. It was like walking up the road and seeing this all kick off. It's like, man, I'm home. This is, and that's what I remember squaddies for. The infantry, God bless them, but they're thick as fuck, and all they like to do is drink and fight. And fuck me, I've had so much experience of dealing with drunk squaddies. I've also a lot of experience of dealing with their bloody domestic bust-ups when they return from duty to discover their wife has been shagging the German milkman for the last 6 months. But that's another subject altogether. Maria Gillian, I just want to thank everyone who comments because it's really is YouTube has been geared up to be an interactive medium, and I really want to take advantage of that as much as possible. So yeah, it's not real. So going back on my thoughts, I've got some good footage also because on the pub over the road, forgive me the names, but it was the Moon or something. But I've got the footage, and when I write all this up eventually, I will put all of the correct pub names. But the pub over the road from where the veterans were drinking, there were some National Front members, and of course, again, it's what I do. I walked over, and there was in this National Front pub, there were veterans in there as well, like rogue veterans. And so I had a good little conversation with one or two of them. I think one of the it just happened as I arrived. There was a big kickoff. There was a National Front guy in the pub where the veterans were drinking, were rude to the team member behind the bar. Things kick, you know what it's like. Things kick off. Alcohol. I don't know the bloody details. All I know is that within half an hour of all kicking off, there was kind of like one, two, three. There was kind of like a dozen police officers outside the pub, and it's just a perfect illustration of what happens when the squaddies get together and get tanked up. Because that was a job I used to do in the army, and it was brilliant. And I had such a laugh. Go think about memory lane, all the trouble I used to turn up at in the army, and that's what I loved about the veterans was I was with my kind of people. I think I was the only RMP there actually. There was a pretty obvious why I was ostracised, wasn't it? But in all seriousness, let's get back to the chronology of the day. And so, of course, I had my couple of pints, and I managed to because when Simon Bean was speaking at Parliament Square, I filmed it because of the heat, and okay, it was my stupidity. Well, whatever, the camera never got the whole footage, so I was a bit disappointed that I never got solid footage of Simon Bean at Parliament Square. But of course, it was very good and a wonderful synchronization that I should get the exclusive footage of. It's terribly filmed, I agree, but I was in right back of the room, just taking in the whole panorama of what's going on. But I managed to kind of I got the audio and I got some good clear footage. But of course, I got that exclusive footage of Simon Bean giving them that rallying call in the pub to the troops to turn up on Monday and break the law and barricade and stop politicians from getting into Parliament. Go for it, Simon Bean. That's I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But you are blaming the wrong people. You know, you've got to wake up, you guys. Okay, it's the Queen. And what happened over the weekend further happened to me, which I'm not allowed to tell you actually, because I met veterans associated with Simon Bean, but I also met veterans from other Black Op type government operations, touching on my super soldier. You know, everyone who reads my stuff knows I'm into these super soldiers, and essentially, so I met veterans from the super soldiers and from uh, you know the let's say the less intelligent side of the British Army, the infantry. So that was why I'm so excited about this wonderful weekend I've had up in London. It really has been the bee's knees and absolutely loved every moment of what happened. And I'm sharing it all with you. So after leaving it all kicking off at the pub, I went and had a lovely walk around the beautiful sights of London, basically. I mean, I checked out all the tourist traps and Downing Street. But well, most I was just like blown away with the lovely parks. So nice walking around St James Park. It was during this time I walkabout. So it was in the afternoon. So after no, because I did go to Hyde Park, didn't I? Of course, I've done a recce on Hyde Park. I understood what was going on, and of course, I've had lots of walking around London. Okay, so I've just been everywhere and I've just enjoyed it. I've just soaked up London. It's been lovely. But at some point, I found myself in a little green, having a sit down, having a rest, having a drink. Such a lovely day. And I saw a couple of gentlemen, street drinkers, and I just mentioned in passing by that if you're a veteran, come down and join the veterans for the night. And then this one particular person answered, and it started something which I'm not going to tell you. Essentially, I've had a conversation with a veteran of a Black Ops super soldier unit whose regiment I have told Simon Bean and his friends and the other veterans and the regiment of that none of them have heard of. Okay, I'm not prepared to say it because this guy is the real deal, and he's got my number, and he's promised to talk to me further, and I've promised him I won't divulge, which is very difficult for me considering I'm the editor of Guerrilla Democracy News, whose whole existence is about breaking news that the mainstream media daren't report. And so, of course, in my guise as Mr. X Investigations, it's killing me having to keep this information to myself, but I'm doing so because I know if I do so, he's going to give me more. And it'll all come out when he's ready. So that was on the first Saturday, a big chunk of it was spent talking to veterans. And I tell you now, every veteran I spoke to outside of that one tent, the immediate circle of Simon Bean, every other veteran I spoke to supports Andy. Yeah, yes, indeed. and they're scratching their heads to wonder out why Simon isn't supporting it. Okay, so let's get on to that. Okay, let's get on to that kind of no, Maria in the chat box is asking, did I meet Dean Cumberbatch? Yes, I did. I shook his hand. I just arrived at Parliament Square as he is finishing his talk. He went off the platform, but before he ran off with his mate, yeah, I did. Of course, I did. I had to, didn't I? I had my flag. Well, sorry, not my flag. I had the Admiralty flag, the King's flag. I had that in hand, and of course, I had to make a line to Dean and just introduce myself, which I did. And he shook my hands. I don't think he clocked who I was or the fact that I was. But of course, I mean, these people, ultimately, they've got five senses, so he clocked the flag. And but yes, I did. I very briefly met Dean Cumberbatch, but I had a very good conversation with Simon Bean. Yeah, and thank you, Maria, for saying that. For saying you're with John One all the way, because so am I. And I do believe Simon Bean will come round, and I'll tell you that why. I'm going to go into the conversation I had with him. But going back to what I was saying, every veteran there supports Andy Devine and John One Look, forgive me for mispronouncing his name. I'm going to move on for that. So, right. So when I first got there, I'd already done a recce of the camp, so I knew what to expect. So after talking to this one particular veteran that I'm not going to discuss anymore, but I can't wait until he gets back in contact with me, I went back to the camp. And I thought I'll go a bit closer, as you do. So from one tree to another, I've got this lovely little spot, a bit closer to the camp, and I'll get a better view. So it was brilliant, and I was just loving it. I was loving sitting there, leaning against a tree. It can be a bit dangerous later on in the day because that was where most of the people were pissing. God, and that place ended up smelling like a latrine. They really did. So I was just going to finish my point before I look back on the comments there, Maria, and of course, thank you for commenting. I'll end the story by sitting at a tree closer to the camp, and lo and behold, guess who was at the tent closer to that tree? Yes, Simon Bean. And it was like, brilliant. I couldn't have wished for this more, Here I comes, find myself a nice spot, and who's within 10 foot? Simon Bean. It's like, thank you, God. It could have been better. So I'm just going to look on the comments because I love comments from everyone. Maria, Dean said, if any King's flag people turn up, they were going in the river in a dinghy. Yes, of course. Of course. I heard that. Of course I heard that. And he said, if anyone turns up, and this ties in beautifully what happened to me that night, okay? Because, okay, I'll jump. Thank you for bringing that up, okay, Maria, because I'll jump in and tell you, jump ahead. Okay, I'll go back and I'll tell you everything what was said. But jumping ahead to 2 o'clock, no, I'm gonna have to save that, Maria. But I've got something to tell you about that. Okay, they threatened, didn't they? They did threaten. If anyone comes up flying that flag, they're gonna take them up, put them in a rubber tire, and throw them in the Thames. Okay, they did say that, and that was on the back of my mind. I must confess that was on the back of my mind when I went there. So, but I'm going back. So there I sat close to Simon Bean. Now, when I first went back close to Simon Bean, there was a lot of activity. He was still being consulted. There was a lot of to and froing, and so that wasn't the time to introduce myself. Okay. Um, but the benefit of being so close to Simon Bean was that I overheard lots of stuff, and I got to identify the hierarchy of the veterans. So I got to realise who was number 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's very interesting because Simon Bean may not be number 1 in the veteran hierarchy. Just want to put that out there, okay? He may not be number 1. So I was able to observe a lot of intelligence gathered, a lot of intelligence. I was able to observe, and one thing that came up, there is some internal aggro going on within the veterans. There are some members of the veterans that some other veterans would rather just fuck off, basically, okay? They're weird and they're a bit fucking dubious, to say the least. But that's their business. I'm not going to comment any more on that. You know, what happened at the veterans camp stays at the veterans camp, okay? Just looking at some, right, that, of course, you know, I welcome internal chat with each other, and please crack on in the chat room. So it's great to generate conversation. So when I first sat close to Simon Beans, I left him in peace. Okay, it was more of an observational exercise. I knew I'd get my chance to talk to Simon Bean. I knew God will present the situation all in good time. See what I've done there? God opens it up. You give God time, it's good. Okay. So I knew God will present me the opportunity to have a conversation with Simon Bean in due course. So I was in no hurry or rush to introduce myself. Okay, it was a beautiful setting. I was loving the parks. I was loving Hyde Park. I was loving the atmosphere of the veteran. It was just beautiful, and I was talking to people, and of course that was the main reason for my visit up there. I was talking to people. My flag was out all the time. My flag. I do apologise. Our flag, the Admiralty flag, the King's flag, was out all the time. It was flying proud in the lovely breeze of the best summer's day London can offer. Okay, so I love talking to people, and everyone I spoke to already knew about John, and that's another thing that will come up later on in the story. So, what time are we? We're going on Saturday about 6 or 7 now. Okay, well maybe not. Either way, so I was popping off every now and then just to, because of course there was no toilets close by. So if you wanted to go to a toilet, you had to go on another trek somewhere, either to go and buy something from a pub, you know, have a little drink, you know, just get yourself a beer, and then you can use the toilet for ablutions that way. So, um, yeah, so Hyde Park wasn't my favourite place to be, but it was still a lovely place to be. Okay, so let's get on. So what I've told you about is Parliament Square. I've told you about my meeting with a veteran of a different calibre from the squaddies at the veteran camp. I'm not going to say any more about that, except Simon Bean and his colleagues had never heard of the regiment. I'm not going to say the regiment's name. I promise not to, and it could get me killed and my children killed. You know, that information is now with Simon Bean. He can keep that to himself. I suggest that if you want to start sprouting what I said to you, that's the danger. You may really end up with, well, a knife in the head. But that was a lovely humour, by the way, and I think that's a good measure of the man, because I managed to get a measure of the man, and what he's done with that humorous take with the knife in his head. That's his apology. That's the best he can do. Okay, and I'll come on to why, because I had a conversation with him. Now, where is my? I've got some notes on it actually. Of course, where is it now? Oh, here it is, right in front of me, as it always is, isn't it? So the second time, like I said, I'm not going to go into too much what I saw in my observational. I'm going to keep that's secret intelligence for me. But a lot of stuff, I learned a lot of stuff about how the veterans tick and the hierarchy and the internal struggles. Okay. One thing I will share was, you know, somebody came up to Simon, right, Simon, what are we going to do about numbers? So that was one of the subjects. Actually, that guy turned up when I was talking to Simon. So let's go on to that. I come back to the camp after I've been on one of my jollies. Okay, I come back to the camp. I'm tired. I just want to sit down. So I go back to the same tree. that was closest to Simon Bean. And there's me, I'm settling down, getting resting my flag, settling down, getting I had a can of cider out. Why not? It was lovely. So I've got my can of cider out, just settling down. And then because in this camp closer to the tree where I was sitting, where Simon Bean was, there was like Simon Bean, two women, and about three other guys. Okay, and then it was the women who piped up and said, that flag ain't welcome around here." And I was like, "Well, really? That flag ain't welcome around here," she said from across the next tent camp I wrote. And then and of course, this was the opportunity I was waiting for, wasn't it? I was waiting for God to give the opportunity, all in good time, and of course, the opportunity arose straight away. And I found it funny that it was left to the women to voice up and call me out. And so, they said, "What's up? This flag ain't welcome in this camp." I heard. What do you mean? You mean this flag, do you? That was my cue. Yeah, that king's flag. Well, what do you mean? That's when I got on. I said, "Do you mind if I join you and discuss it further?" And that's where I kind of like walked over to the camp, said hi, sat down, and spoke to Simon Bean. Here we started a conversation. And the first thing he said to me was that the flag is real. It's the money that's a scam. And the first thing I just laughed at Simon and the rest of the camp who were looking at me a bit like, "Who the fuck are you? We're walking in the middle of us." Anyway, I just said to him, "Look, I said on Friday the Euro lottery was 50 million. I said if I'd won that 50 million, I would put 25 straight to John there and then. I'll say, John, there you go, mate. 25 million pound to do your Moai tidal project. I would give that to him without a moment. Okay, and I'll push it across to him. Okay, because I know not only would that work, it'll also reap a billion to me. So that's their business mind, the businessman in me. I would gladly give 25 million to get the Moai tidal energy project off the ground, generating electricity. I'll be a billionaire. And so I made it very passionately clear to Simon that, listen, mate. And I reminded him I'm R&P and his missus or whatever, one of the girls. I don't think it was Simon Bean's missus. I think it was the girlfriends or wives of the other that Simon Bean was keeping with. And they were like, I've lost my train of thought. That they were quite fun women. So essentially, you want to know, and I want to tell you what Simon Bean said to me. Essentially, he's confessed, and everybody out in the camp confessed. They don't know anything about John. Okay, they really don't know anything about John and what he's trying to do. I reminded them. I said, "Listen, you arseholes, I'm a Royal Military policeman, okay? And I reminded these squaddies who the fucking intelligent ones are around here, okay? I said, listen, guys, to become an R&P, I had to score in the top 3% of the entrance." And of course, they all smile because they know they just had to sign their name to be like enrolled within their corps. To be an R&P, you've got to be clever. And that was the point I was trying to make. I was saying, you are insulting my intelligence by saying it's a scam. When I've been involved with John since 2014, and I will gladly give 25, if I had, God bless, money comes to me in abundance, and it's coming to me imminently, when I get my 25 million, that will go into the Moai tidal energy. Bang! Straight off. That'll be my first purchase as a multi-millionaire. The first thing I'll do is give John 25 million. Bang! There you go, Wahana. Go and do it. Wahana, whatever your bloody surname is. It's a beautiful surname. It's just that I can't pronounce it. So there you go. You stuff that up your Jacksy. Whoever's moaning about my bad pronunciation of his name. Okay. And that was, I just made it clear to Simon, you've got to apologise. And then what he said to me was, never. And then why carry on the conversation? I thought, why carry on the conversation? And ultimately it was brought to closed because, and it wasn't Simon Bean. Simon Bean, I was getting through to Simon Bean, and he was listening, and he was a very, honourable man in that way. You could see there was a level of humour. He was relaxed. By the time I got, because I knew it was always going to be in good time. So by the time I was introduced to him, all the drama of the day had faded away. It was much more relaxed. Everyone was more relaxed, and I got to see a side of Simon Bean, which I was expecting all along. Okay, I was expecting him to be a reasonable man, but what Simon Bean, he's not a representative of the opinion of the troops. Okay, in that initial camp, what happened was another one of Simon Bean's friends who was sitting from us wasn't involved. Well, everyone was involved in the conversation I was having with Simon Bean. It was a group conversation. Okay, he just basically he said to me, he piped up. He said, "Look, can you pick up your stuff, pick up your flag, and go?" That's what he said. And I was like, whoa, what? Talk about, I was having a quite good conversation with Simon Bean. I didn't say this, of course. I was like, what? I was a bit shocked, really. Okay, and further so before I got asked to leave, we had a long conversation. And one of the topics, and that was when I was talking to Simon Bean, one of his lieutenants came along and interrupted the conversation and said, Simon, how are we going to get the numbers? And then I piped in. I said, listen, one of the ways to get the numbers is to do the live streams, because I'd already done a few clips and published it. And I said, oh, a good way is you need someone like me, as the editor of Guerrilla Democracy News, to be with you at the front on Monday. And so as you go forward, I can be filming you doing it, and that can be going up on the internet like ASAP. And so that a conversation was developed about how best to take advantage of the momentum, okay, and make sure we had more bodies turn up on Monday. And Simon Bean was open to that. And in fact, he actually promised me the exclusive. I said to him in no uncertain terms, I said, listen, and he acknowledged that he's aware of my work and that he's seen some of my videos. He acknowledged that. And I said, no, listen, give me the exclusive rights, Guerrilla Democracy News. I'll be with you at the front on Monday. And whatever you say on film, I'll be getting up on my channel. And he said to me, yes, okay, we'll do that. And so there you go. I had a verbal agreement with Simon Bean to be with him on Monday at the front, leading from the front, and him giving me the exclusive content for me to publish on my platforms, Guerrilla Democracy News, Mr. X Investigations. Okay, and that was what I was discussing. I was in deep in discussion about this when this arsehole and the others came and went, oh, yeah, do you know what? I suggest you just pick up your stuff and go. It was like, me and Simon looked at each other. It was like Simon looked at me as if, fucking, it's not my tent. I'm only kipping here, He's the governor. I suppose he better do what he says. So I was like, fucking hell, there you go. There you go. And I said to him, you've got to resolve it. You've got to apologise. And that was when he goes, never. Well, that came sooner. And so I picked up my stuff and as I was walking off, I just went, rude. And then somebody piped up and said, no, actually, that was quite polite, actually. Yeah. To which I picked up my stuff and as I walked out said, rude. To which another one of the minions sitting around replied, that was rather polite, actually. Oh yeah, oh god, it is. Look, sorry, but it is something I wrote. 8:50. Someone's had a shit, and it stinks. Reminds me of the horse shit left outside Buckingham Palace. Oh, it's a symbol that the evil, satanic. No, it's a symbol that the evil, that's the royal family, it's horse shit. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed doing those little clips and writing in my journal. Okay. Oh, right, okay, thanks for Maria. No, I didn't. I mean, and this was, it was something, because I'm so used to dealing with these squaddies, okay, when he said that, I felt my back go up, and the old day as a policeman, the first thing I was going to say, excuse me, mate, what's your name and number? But I thought, no, I mustn't. Because the situation went very cold. It turned. I was having a conversation with Simon. I was offering him my help. Okay, but I was discussing about data. I didn't have enough data on my phone, and I was saying, look, if we had data, well, I'd be able to upstream this. And then we had a little conversation about what was better, live streaming or recording it and then upstreaming. So we were in discussion about it. Um, and Simon being, he goes, yeah, do it. And I said, okay, I may do it. But that would have been involved me dipping 20 quid into my own pocket to get the extra data. I mean, I felt as if I would have been doing the veterans a favour if I stood with them Monday, because, I would have been myself in the line of fire, wouldn't I? Because I would have been, can I make myself liable for arrest? And I was like, okay, then, yeah, fair enough. I was hoping him to offer to pay the 20 quid for more data. But he said to me, no, if you want to do it. So I said, okay, I was going to pay it myself, even though I hadn't got 20 quid. Um, I was open to go short to buy the extra data to cover the Veterans March for them. Okay, and then that was when and they had this fucking arsehole whose name I don't know, and I had to consciously don't go in my R&P mode. So I had to. I need to lighten the situation, and that's when I went rude. It was on the advert, wasn't it? I get a lot of my missives from the adverts. My missives from the adverts. So rude. And I said that because I wanted to lighten the mood. I didn't want to fall back my old R&P. Right. What's your name? And it's like fuck. And that's it. I've done my time with R&P. I've done my time fucking dealing with rowdy squaddies like you who are thick as fuck. Okay, but that's fine. I'm approaching 50 now. I really haven't got time to deal with it or to kind of come back. So no. It was funny though. It was brilliant being around them because it brought back so much memories for me. And ultimately, I mean, that was molded me in my young man going on to 30s. That was all what I knew, that kind of life and those people. So it was very nice to be. You see my wand there? Yeah, it's my wand into black magic. Not really. So yeah, I got fucking asked to leave. Fuck you. Yeah, okay, fine. I don't really mind. So I left and I hit the pub. Now that was it. Yeah, I thought fuck it. I'm not going to be hanging around because I like to think I'm a sociable person and I like talking. And even though I had talked to a lot of veterans on a date, Simon Bean was the person I was there to talk to because it was my whole intention um, when I went there was to speak to Simon Bean and get him to change his mind about us. And as the leader of the UK Moai King William the Fourth Party, I've got a responsibility in that. Okay, so if anyone's going to go up there and promote John, and because what Simon said was completely wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. There's no other way to say about it. And I wanted more opportunity to say to him, like, have you ever been wrong, Simon? And I'm sure he would have said yes. But was he man enough to come out and admit it? I reckon he has admitted it by this humorous joke with the knife in his head. Okay, I mean he's purred it back on himself, isn't it? He made that threat, and it's put him back on himself. So that's the only apology we're going to get from him. Okay, I've got still so much to tell you about. So please bear with me. Okay, it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. Look, I've got loads of pages of notes here. Oh my god, there's more pages than I thought I'd done. It was such a lovely day. I found myself little sunny spots, shaded spots all around Hyde Park and St James Park, and I was just sat there, just writing to my heart's delight, and just watching the life go by. Here's what I wrote here: so beautiful, sitting on a park's bench, listening to an elderly couple chatter away in Cantonese while the world streams by, all the while watching ducks, pelicans, geese, and storks. I never thought London could be this beautiful. It's been a thoroughly brilliant experience thus far that has far exceeded my expectations. Putting the veterans to one side, I met myself a real life super soldier. I'm going to say no more about that. Say no more. I have generally pledged to keep secret everything he's telling me. Oh, so, and I think I've got a better understanding of world geopolitics at the moment as well. So that was it. So after being told I'm not welcome, I got told, right, okay, that's an indication that Simon Bean isn't really in charge, is it? Because somebody else told me to stop talking to Simon and go, and Simon didn't overrule that. So there you go. Who's really in charge in the veterans? Simon Bean doesn't call all the shots, does he? No, he doesn't call all the shots. There's other people who call all the shots. And I tell you, I'm too old to find out their names. And I'm too old to worry about it. And I'm too old to kind of take those insults. So I just got up and I left. And I found a lovely old London pub. No, that was it. I actually thought, fuck that, I'm going to go back to my super soldier. That's what I thought. If I'm going to spend the evening with anyone, I'd rather go back to the old that veteran of the Black Ops and spend another hour or two with him, because wow, I mean, I was literally got pulled away from him the first time because I said, look, I need to get back to the veterans and see what they're up to. In hindsight, I wish I just stuck with. I wish I just stayed with the super soldier all the time, because what he said was fascinating, and he's a very intelligent guy, and wow. So I went back. I had another long walk, and I wanted to go and find this guy again, but I didn't find him. The place where I um originally looked, he wasn't there. Thanks for the comment, Maria. You're not as old as me. Yeah. Whoa, 62. 62 is a lovely age, isn't it? 6 and 2 is 8. So, homology all was in my head at the moment. So, I couldn't find my super soldier guy again, but I found the Albert, and lovely. It's just such another wonderful experience that added to a wonderful weekend. An evening in a typical London pub. It was just loved it. It was a chance to charge up my phone and have a couple of pints and just join and just lap up the atmosphere. And I was talking to tourist couple, Sylvia and Richard from Tech Dallas, and I was having a wonderful conversation with them. They had been sweethearts since they were 19 and been together all that time since, and like in their 50s now. And they said and it was just lovely talking to them, lovely hearing their story, lovely telling them why I was in London. They found it all very interesting, and I gave them my card, and they said they'll follow me. So that was a lovely experience in that Albert, and I really had a lovely time. I think I so okay. So here it goes on. Okay, it all gets a bit juicy now. So at this point in the conversation, in the proceedings, I'd already met Simon B. I'd already got everything I wanted to know out of him. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Okay, so I told him everything I wanted to get off my chest. I told him, listen, I'm an intelligent man. John isn't a scam. I wouldn't be. It's an insult to me saying it's a scam, regardless of the insult to poor John, who you've just pissed on his life's work, and you wonder why. He's been bounties on your head. Okay. In fact, just interrupt. I don't remember seeing Cumberbatch at all in the veterans camp. I just want to point that out. He may have been there somewhere, but I don't remember hearing him because he's quite a loud voice and big personality. I remember hearing him or seeing him at the camp. So that's something. else. Perhaps he had to get back to his gorgeous wife, no doubt. I know I would want to, rather than hang around pissed, soaked. I mean, really, by the end of it, by the end of whatever time they leave, that corner of Hyde Park is going to be a swamp of piss. It stinks so much. Poor guy. That's another reason why I had to come back. So anyway, I turn up. It was funny because I thought it was 9 o'clock. When time flies and you're having fun. I turn up back at the camp, thinking it was 9 o'clock. But it was actually 12 o'clock. So what happened was, I come back to the camp after a lovely night out, so maybe a couple of pints, and okay, I was merry enough. Yeah, I was merry enough coming back from the Albert, and I was making way to that tree where I originally sat close to Simon Bean, because I was going to sleep within that vicinity. Okay, I, I'd already clocked that not to sleep next to a tree base, because that's fucking everyone was having their pisses there. So I wanted somewhere close by to the camp, okay? Because I'm a veteran, isn't it? Is that right? Yeah, I'm a veteran. Oh yeah. Before I go any further, going back while we're talking about this, going back to my conversation with Simon Bean, we asked, "Where's Gary Clark?" And that was it. Simon Bean even admitted he doesn't know Gary Clark. Simon Bean brought it up. Simon Bean brought you up, Gary. He goes, "I don't even know Gary Clark." And I said, "Well, why the fuck are you listening to him?" And he gives that little smile he does, and leaves it to one of his minions to answer. No, that's unfair to Simon. Simon didn't know why he doesn't like Simon. Simon doesn't know why he doesn't like John W. Okay? He doesn't know why. Because he's not really in charge. He's a follower. He could have been a general in John's army, but he's not. Okay? Simon Bean doesn't know why he doesn't like John. He doesn't know anything about it. No one knows about John Mahona in the close vicinity of Simon Bean. All the other veterans know about him. I saw someone in that pub where it was kicking off, where I filmed him. I went down to the toilet. My flag went everywhere with me. And one of the first comments by a guy, well, I won't name, I should do really. I think it's Cole Beach. Obviously not the same Cole Beach that is in Newcastle trial at the moment. It wasn't that Cole Beach, but it was other Cole Beach who's very familiar with Andy Devine, and he follows Andy Devine. He loves Andy Devine's show. He saw me. He goes, "Oh, a bit brave of you, bring that in here." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "No, don't worry, mate. Look, I watch Andy Devine. I love it. I'm all for John." I was like, "Mate, nice." And that was all the veterans I bloody met. Okay, so I turn up thinking I had such a merry night. I turn up at the veterans camp, 12 o'clock. Okay, and of course, you remember, that they've been going on about their centuries, wasn't there? They went a lot on about their centuries, didn't they? So as soon as I clock up, I go and find myself my space. The sentries are on me like a flash, and they move me on. I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm going to get down and kip." No. People are not happy with the King's flag around here. Now, bearing in mind, King's flag, Simon Bean's already said is real, but no, they don't even know what they're. They don't even know what they're dissing. That's the amazing thing about this. That's the intel I brought back. They don't even know what they're dissing. Okay, it's fucking hilarious, really, but so tragic at the same time. So they go to me. No, people don't like your flag. Like, not my flag. People don't like the King's flag. Move on. I was like, what? Go on out of the camp, Matt. Out of the camp. And that was when I said to this one of these burly guys, fuck these squaddies. I said, "Mate, you don't even know who John Mahona is." And he looked at me. He was like, "I don't even know." I know he was. I was at the last live feed when he done his last live from. And I was like, "Mate, so you do know who he is?" He goes, "Yeah, I support him, mate." I went, "Well, what the fuck?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just shrugging my shoulders." It's like, "Oh, I'm just doing what I'm told." I said, "You're bad as the fucking cops." He was like, "Oh, don't get angry, mate. I've had a long day. I haven't had sleep in 48 hours." I was like, "Well, why you fucking act like a cop to me then, you cunt? Fucking moving me on. Oh, don't have a go, man. I'm tired, right? I said, yeah, I bet you don't even want to do this, do you? Well, yeah, I don't. I finished my century an hour ago. Well, why the fuck are you still here? Oh, I don't know. I'm a dumb squaddy. Well, fuck off. Well, it's so I walked off. It's like, fuck you veterans, you cunts. You're gonna think I'm gonna be bloody spending 20 quid to do your live feeds to help you? Do you think I'm gonna be standing with you on Monday? Think again, right? It gets better. It gets better as well, though. It gets better. More happens. More happens. So I fuck off. I was like, I'm in a fucking mood, Come back from a lovely, friendly evening at the Albert, the old typical British pub, London boozer. Oh, my old man's got money, leaves a dustman's at. He doesn't. Hey, lovely evening. And I come back. Within a moment of setting foot in the veterans, I've got these fucking 3-4 guys around me going, no one likes your King's flag. Fuck off. You're not allowed in the veterans camp. It's only for veterans. I was like, so I was like, fuck. Do you know, I'm too old for it. I'm approaching 50. I don't need to deal with this shit. So I was like, fuck you, veterans. And I walk off, okay? Like, fuck it. So I was in a bad mood when I went to sleep, okay? So I didn't have a sleeping bag. I was pretty ill prepared. But I had enough. I was adequate. I had just the bare minimum, as a good soldier does when he goes out on his live reconnaissance, like what I was doing. These missions, you take the bare minimum. You take what you need, okay? And that's what I did. I took what I need. So I had my bare minimum, and so I found myself like 100 yards away from the camp, just like they fucking passed me on. So I found myself on my nice little spot, right? Settled, right? Relaxing. And by this time, what we're talking about, it's 12:30, right? I'm slowly, and the camp's still loud as fuck, like I knew they would be, because I know what squaddies are like. They're fucking, and squaddies and beer, there's loud as fuck, okay? I know squaddies. I've been around them. That's my career was, okay? I know what they're like. And so I'm actually quite blessed that I'm so far away from the camp, okay? Because at least the sound was a bit subdued. And the smell wasn't that fucking bad. Because I tell you, by that time, the stink of urine was in the air. It was like, So, there I am, back off. Slowly but surely getting comfortable. Getting wrapped up. Slowly going to sleep. Relaxing, getting peaceful. Getting one with the world. Reminiscing on a wonderful day. Remembering, there was a risk of coming up here, isn't there? There was a risk. They said if anyone turns up with flying your flag, you're going to get taped up, put in a rubber ring, and thrown in the Thames. Okay, so there was a risk me going, but I thought I had to do because they've got John wrong. They've got John W. wrong, and it was my obligation as being involved with John to go up there and set the record straight and try and resolve this. So that was always my underlying motivation in this, was to resolve it, okay? And so, here it gets good. Listen up, listen up. There's me, relaxing, slowly getting to sleep, coming to peace with everything that happened today. And I'm sure I saw fucking lights approaching me, but nah, can't be. And there's a relaxing, like on the verge of going to sleep. Just like I just want to, everything's safe. The environment is still. There's nobody walking around. Slowly, and then these fucking lights are coming closer, and I was like, oh, just getting closer and closer. These fucking 4 lights approaching in the darkness. I was like, oh, what is this? And then soon, lo and behold, fucking 4 figures approaching me. 4 fucking figures with their fucking lights on, approaching me in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. Right? I thought this is it. This is it. They're gonna come and fucking pick me up, wrap me in tape, put me in a rubber wheel, and throw me in a Thames. I was like, I was up with my fucking feet. I was like, come on in, you cunts. do it. I was fucking right. And I was like, ah. Yeah, here they are, me going in, the only R&P. Of course they're going to do this. It was inevitable they're going to come and do this. All their fucking pent-up aggression over the years of all what the R&P's done to them. Oh, mate, I just knew it. I just knew, they'd already thrown me out the camp. This was it. They were going to come and fucking bring it on. And I was like, right, you cunts, I'm ready for you. Four against one. At least when I go out, I'm going to take one of you with me. And that was all my motivation. I was like on my feet and I was like, fucking do it. Come on. Oh, no, that's all right, Matt. It's all right. No, calm down, Matt. Calm down. Nah, come on. Let's fucking do it. No, calm down, Matt. Oh, well, what the fuck are you here for? What the fuck are you here for? You're fucking waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. What are you here for? Someone's nicked a fridge and we thought it was you. I was like, what? Yes. So someone's nicked a fridge from my tent, and we're looking for it. And I was like, what the fuck are you on about? You fucking dumb squaddy pricks! Somebody's nicked something in the camp, and you're coming out finding me at 2 in the morning. You fuck this is the fucking squaddies we have to deal with. They're thick as fuck nutbeds who still fucking salute the Queen, even though it's the Queen who's only fucking sold them out. So I wasn't too pleased, and that was the final straw in my fucking, and that's that. Expect me to go back to sleep after that. So these fucking 4 cunts find me out at 2 o'clock in the morning. Wait, I don't know what I was. For me, they were going to come and do me. And I tell you, there was a moment I was like, I'm going to take one of you out. Do it, you cunts. I'm going to take one of you out. I'm going to take... One of them was guaranteed. I'd like to have taken more of you out, but I knew these guys were fucking... I know squaddies. They're trained killers. I know what they do, okay? So, so that was a fucking... I'll be honest with you. That scared the living daylights out of me. It scared the living fucking daylights out of me. Being approached by 4 squaddies at 2 o'clock in the morning, after being threatened that anyone who does turn up is going to be put on tape, put in the tyre ring and thrown in Thames. So I must admit, I was so glad when we managed to defuse that. But I couldn't get to sleep after that. Oh yeah, no, that was what happened, right? They come up. I thought they were going to come and lynch me. They was like, no, someone's nicked something from the camp. We're just looking for it. I had a bit of a body drop. Well, don't fucking come to me and asking me what's happening in your camp. You've just told me to fuck off. So why the fuck are you coming to bothering me, telling me something's nicked from your camp after you telling me to fuck off? You fuck off. I was not happy. I was not a happy camper. And then one of these guys was like, look, come back to the camp. And what? Why? Well, no, don't stay out here by yourself. There's druggies, there's junkies. They'll slit your throat. Come back to the camp. We'll protect you. It was like, no, it's all right, guys. Fuck off, please. You've already fucking gave me a heart attack, right? So just leave me alone. I don't want it. No. Come back. We'll protect you. I was like, oh, fucking okay then. Just to please them, right? I went back to the camp, right? Because they begged me to come back. Right, but no, they had my best interest at heart. Okay, so from a moment I thought they were going to come over there and fucking lynch me, to like, no, Matt, come back to the camp. We'll come under our umbrella. So I was like, okay then, guys, fucking thank you. I was still pissed off, and I am pissed off. So I go back to the camp, and of course I reckon it's 3 o'clock now in the morning, right? It's 3 in the morning. And the fucking camp, you got some squaddy going, show me the way to go home. Boom, boom, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it's going right to my head. Yeah, they started fucking these squaddies. I knew they're crazy as fuck. So they start singing this at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. At least being far away, I didn't have to hear the shit, but being close, hearing it, I was like, man, I'm not going to get to sleep. And so I got up and I fucking walked London, and it was beautiful. honestly, it just brings magic to my heart. Walking around London, I mean, I tried to get settled down and have a kip on a few park benches and under a bush or underneath something in the playground, but I wasn't getting to sleep. Right, I was not getting to sleep. So from about like 3 to 4ish and then about 4:30, the dawn starts breaking. And just seeing light light up London, and of course I ended up in Piccadilly Circus and seeing all the all the gorgeous women, gorgeous men, young, happy. They've just had a great night. All they were spilling out of the nightclubs. Then you can see the morning workers come in. The whole London waking up, beautiful. And so it was worth not going to sleep that night. Because I think going to sleep that night was never on the cards, was it? No, no. I was having too much fun. And I had a wonderful experience of waking up, seeing London come to life, and in such a wonderful summer morning. It was lovely. Of course, I was back at Hyde Park. I was walking through the camp, saying my hellos, seeing how everybody was. 7 o'clock. I was seeing people come out of their tents, yawning. It was just lovely. It was lovely seeing the camp come to life. I mean, of course, I hadn't gone to sleep, and it was good. It was really good. It was still a nice atmosphere, and I wish the veterans all the best, of course. And of course, I said to some guy, one of the first guys who moved me on when I first came back to the camp after the pub. That guy, and I saw him. I said, "Yeah, your fucking guys again came visit me last night, 2 o'clock, fucking going on about this and other." And this guy goes, "Yeah, too right, too fucking right." I was like, "What?" "Yeah, too right, too right." As if fucking you deserve everything you get for turning up here, supporting us. You get what you get for being a veteran, turning up here in the veterans rally, supporting us. I was like, and I was like, fuck you. Why the fuck am I wasting my freaking time with these bunch of arseholes? And by that time, I hadn't been to sleep. I wanted to poo, and I wasn't going to like find the toilet in London. So I'd already had my McDonald's. Um, it was lovely because I made a decision. I said, look, I'm not going to stick around these veterans. If I'm too tired. Maybe if I had a night's sleep, I would have, and maybe if they weren't so rude to me, I would have. Because I generally would have loved to have been with them on Monday when they march on Parliament Square and stop the politicians coming into work. I would. I want to be there. I mean, and in all honesty, if I had the 36 quid to the train fare again, I'd go. I'd go now. Okay, I've had my poo, I've had my food. I haven't had dinner yet, but I've had my shower. I feel much better. I had a shave. I feel human again. I would love to go up right now and spend the night with the veterans and go on Monday. And I'd have my phone charged up. I'd have new data, and I was willing to do that. I was willing to like, and Simon Bean said yes. He agreed. He said, "I'll give you the exclusive rights." That wasn't the words he said. I said, "Will you give me the exclusive rights to Guerrilla Democracy News to film you on the rally?" He said, "Yes, you're welcome to it." Okay, so stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay, it's an indication that Simon is a reasonable guy, but it's the people around him. It's the ignorance. No one understands John W. Okay, that's why they call it a scam. It's one of those human nature things. What you don't understand, attack what you don't understand, and that's what's happening now. And be controversial and be really honestly speaking, the reason why there's not enough numbers down there is because of Simon's stance on John. Because there's a lot of people around the world, regardless of what sub faction you're in, regardless, a lot of people are following John. Okay, a lot of people are waking up to the change he offers. Okay, this brings me on to something else now. And I'm touching on stuff which I don't want to reveal too much. So I'm not going to tell you how I've come to this conclusion. But from the intelligence I've gleaned and I've received over the week, over Saturday night, going into Sunday, I'm going to state this with confidence, and I don't think this is being told anywhere else. So you're hearing this from me first, okay? Prince Charles isn't going to become king. What they're going to do once the Queen goes, because we know the Queen has gone already, okay? John W has taken care of that. But we're imminently the Queen is going to die, isn't she? Well, I'm not saying that wasn't part of what intelligence got last night. I'm not saying the Queen's going to die imminently, but at some point soon, it's openly she's going to go. There's even allegations that she's gone already, and there's a clone in her place. So there you go. So essentially, what I'm trying to get across is that we're going to have a choice of William V opposed to the surrogate King William IV, believe it or not, because the throne's going to be passed to William, and I can imagine that. I mean, just let's just go into the imagination now. You know, when the Queen dies, a lot of stuff will come out about her. And then, of course, when the light is shined on Charles, a lot of stuff is going to come out about him as well. And they'll be tainted. And so they can easily be moved aside with the new savior, isn't it? And we always talk about this in the New World Order. The New World Order coming in, they're having a spearhead, you know. And it's going to be William. We've always known it's going to be William. He's going to be the new white hope that leads us into a better future. And it's going to be William who's going to be king next. But with that upheaval of the Queen passing and Prince Charles being refused kingship, martial law is going to be brought in. And so that's something I've learned over the weekend. Martial law will be brought in with the passing of the kingship to King William. He'll be the fifth, won't he? He'll be the fifth. Am I right? I think I am. When he becomes king, he'll be William the Fifth, won't he? Right. So essentially, and he's going to come to monarchy. He's going to come to power under the baton. There's going to be force. There's going to be martial law, and this is it's status quo. You can continue the status quo. Continue what you got now. Continue the oppression. Continue the lies. It's going to carry on with William V. The alternative now is that we've got the surrogate King William IV, haven't we, in the guise of John One Hour, okay? I can do it. It's just that my mind finds it easier to mispronounce it. It's John W. So he is offering a choice of a King's Bench. We all know about what he's offering, okay? And if you don't know what John is offering, please visit the UK Moai King William IV party, and eventually in there, within the news somewhere, or even Google yourself, moaipowerhouse.com. Go on Facebook, just Google his name, and enough stuff will come on. Okay, it'll be lovely. No, I'm not. I'm not going to read any comments of a negative nature, and especially Chris Bryan, I think it is. I saw a picture of Chris Bryan. What a fat fuck! But let's not swear. Okay, so I think I'm gonna bring it to a close now. They eventually got through my armour, the trolls. You know, I'm loving this, staying over in London, sleeping out under the stars. There was no stars really. Who knows? I may even stay here indefinitely. So that was how I was feeling at the start of it. I was ready to stay there all for as long as it takes. So I know Simon Bean, he vowed to stay there until Wednesday, didn't he? I was like, and that was actually part of my game. I wanted to be there for as long as I could, so I'll be able to help talk to Simon whenever I could, and show him the error of his ways. That was going to be my strategy, but ultimately I threw that strategy away because I'm too old to be spoken to like shit. Okay, if I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to help you, and if I try and help someone, I want thanks out of it, not to be insulted. So that was you had your chance. I could have helped. Who else is doing your PR, Simon? You needed someone there on the ground with a journalistic flair to get your message out. Okay, you could have utilised the million hitting Guerrilla Democracy News. I'm getting 10,000 hits a month. I mean, I can show you the figures are going through the roof. I'm onto a new level now. Regularly over 1,000 views a hit a day on Guerrilla Democracy News. So I've got I had a platform there to help you, Simon Bean. And you personally knew the benefit of having me on board, right? Because it wasn't you who told me to leave. You are a transparent man, I feel. Stubborn as fuck for saying you'll never apologise, but ultimately you will because you're wrong. And you have apologised, so thank you. You've done so in a humorous way. And I love that because, like you said at the camp, you've seen my videos, right? You know what a plonker I am with my humour. And I feel as if you've got the same type of humour, Mr. Bean. And I love that little clip with the knife in your head. Of course, that was brilliant because, of course, that was the threat you said against Andy Devine, wasn't it? And like you said, let's put it all to bed now, okay? You've admitted that you know fuck all about it, okay, and that's fine. You know fuck all about it, but ultimately, you do. John still deserves an apology from you. That's still in the air, okay? So, I'll leave that in your court, Simon. Have you ever been wrong? Have you ever been wrong? Of course you have. Are you man enough to say sorry? Of course you are. It wasn't nice calling him a scam. Okay? He's a great man. He's doing a lot for the world. Like a lot of other people I know. God bless. A big shout out to Edward Ellis and what he's going through. Okay? It's just that, I spoke to a veteran from a regiment you've never heard of. Okay? There's a different world out there. I'm in touch with it. Okay? I'm aware of it. We are the King's Bench are aware of it. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what the special ops veteran told me. Okay? But if I did, everyone out there will say, "Yep, that is true. It rings true. They know it." Right, I'm going back to the comments. John has been stopped from coming into the country by liars, trolls, telling custom things that are not true. That's exactly the reason John never got into the country. Because he had got into the country previously, wasn't he, without any trouble? But that was when the trolls wasn't on the case. And these trolls, and what's so disgusting was how they gloat about phoning up immigration, and they do their screenshots of "thank you for reporting anonymously to blah blah blah," be it Facebook or anywhere. How they record their call. I mean, that Joe Solis, the most vile and stomach churning interviews of recording I heard of her calling New Zealand, sprouting that shit. Okay, so I like to think I've told you everything about the Veteran Weekend. I don't know how long we've been going on for. Long enough, no doubt. God knows. Oh yeah, what we've been doing 1 hour 18. Yeah, cool. Thank you for all the comments, especially a big shout out to Maria. Many thanks, Maria, for commenting. It's always great, to hear from people who are listening, and it's I'm so grateful that you did take the time to comment because, of course, YouTube makes this as interactive as possible, and I think we may as well take advantage of that as much as we can. Okay, so I've got lots of notes. I was writing to my heart's delight. It was martial law is coming. That's something I wasn't particularly so clued up on as one before. And so I think I've done all my little clips. I've uploaded them. I've got some clips of the police present outside their pub. I mean, these squaddies can be a rowdy lot, and ultimately they all reverted to type. I would be with you, veterans, but you were rude to me, okay? And I had no sleep, and you're marching on the wrong. You're blaming the wrong people. But apart from that, though, wonderful. Okay, bye ever so much, Maria, and thank you for tuning in. And yeah, so So that's it. I'm sorry I'm not there with you Monday. I wish I could be. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Thanks, veterans. Thank you, Simon Bean, for giving me the time. Ultimately, you did give me the time. I asked to join you, and you said yes. And so, and it was really a pleasure talking to you. It was a pleasure talking to all the veterans I spoke to. I spoke to a lot of you, and a lot of you told me how you really feel about things. And I agree with you. Simon has got it wrong on John, and Simon has realised that now. Okay? I wish you all the best on Monday. I'll be there in spirit. Wish I was there with you, flying the flag. But you lot, wish you all the best. All the best, veterans. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm one with you. All for one for all. Okay? It's just a shame. You've got some knobbers in your circle. Where was Gary Clark? Remember, we discussed this, didn't we, Simon Bean? Where's Den Tarragon? We discussed this, didn't we? Where were they? They had plenty of warning about the 29th. Okay, these people, you are taking their side. Where were they? Where were they when they needed the numbers? Okay. Thank you, Simon Bean. Thank you, John Wanoa. Thank you, Andy Devine, Edward Ellis, Nilu, Lee, John Patterson. Thank you to all. Thank you. Thank you. It's been wonderful. I had a lovely time in London.